And we're starting 31. Okay. Alright. Okay. Get a little bit more light in here. Alright, chapter 31, the rise of the great Roman Empire and the explanation of the great beast by John in Revelation. The Roman Empire is one beast, and the great European Empire and the United States are some of the other beasts described by John. The book of Revelation is expounded on extensively. Okay, that was the intro. And now it is convenient at this point in my abridgment that I introduce the next great nation that arose after the nation of the Greeks. And this great nation is that Roman Empire, even the same nation that ruled most of the earth in the present day of my fathers on the other continent of the earth, even that continent out of which traveled my fathers. All right, so it's talking about the Americas. And about this present time, the Roman Empire shall be wounded exceedingly because of his great sins before Yahusha, even so much that it shall be destroyed by a deadly wound, according to the words of John that are written in the Bible, which ye have already among you. But from its wounds the rise of another great nation shall come to pass, and this nation shall be known as the great European Empire, the time of the Gentiles. Okay, this connects to that. All right, this is the time of the Gentiles. The Europeans are the Gentiles. Okay, the great white empire, the time of the Gentiles, the worst of the heathen. Okay. And from that great empire, Satan shall make his final stand against the saints of the Most High, even before Yahusha cometh again in his glory, to claim that which has been placed in his power by the Father. For Satan shall cause to be established a powerful nation among the Gentiles, that shall strike fear in all the other nations of the world. And with this great nation, Satan shall begin to rule and reign over his own dominion without the restrictions that were placed on him by the Father in the beginning, such as television, such as your technology and all of these different things, these powers of the air, all of these things he was allowed to do in this half of times. Okay? Bring about the television, bring about radio, bring about all of these different frequencies, okay? He wasn't able to do this before. He was held back. But in this half of times, he was given the power to be able to bring it all. But there were some of us, a few of us, that was able to break the deceptions of Satan. He was able to raise up establishments all over the earth, your freaking educational institutions, all of these things all over the earth. He was able to raise all of these things up under the European Empire, under the great white empire. All right, the time of the Gentiles, the worst of the heathen. Let's go ahead and continue. For Satan shall cause to be established a powerful nation among the Gentiles, that shall strike fear in all the other nations of the world. And with this great nation, Satan shall begin to rule and reign over his own dominion without the restrictions that were placed on him by the Father in the beginning. And this shall be the final opportunity of Satan to show unto the children of the Most High that his plan can bring about happiness and joy to those who follow him, and give him the glory that he seeketh. And this great nation shall be known as the United States, for they shall be united in their desire to worship Satan and his image, and this because of their works. And unknowingly they shall be led subtly to believe that Satan is their God, even the very eternal Father. And they shall support and worship his image, and cause all other nations who do not support and worship the image of Satan to be condemned or destroyed. Now, let's bring it in our modern times, shall we? Why was Gaddafi murdered? Why was he assassinated? All of these other leaders of these other nations that did not want to accept or did not want to continue to utilize the American dollar or whatever, their currency, or they refused to accept their currency, they were murdered. Okay? They shall be consumed or destroyed. And they shall support and worship his image, and cause all other nations who do not support and worship the image of Satan to be consumed or destroyed. Okay, that's the real reason for war. That's the real reason why they keep sending the American soldiers over to these other freaking countries, all right, to try to force other people to worship the beast. Okay, and now all these things shall come to pass according to the words of the brother of Jared. And I shall hereafter give unto you an abridgment of how these things shall come to pass. Nevertheless, it has been commanded me by the Spirit to give unto you the words of John, which are written in the book of the Israelites. And that's the Bible, in case you don't know, that's the Bible. All right, your so-called Holy Bible. For the words of John are the final words of this book. It's talking about the book of Revelations. And shall give unto the children of men all the knowledge that they shall need in order that they might understand that which Satan has done to deceive them and lead them away from the words of the Messiah and into captivity, being bound by the chains of Satan. Okay? But they didn't include all of that in the book of Revelation, in your so-called Holy Bible. It's very cryptic. It's very vague, where anybody can like make interpretations of what the pale horse is, what the red horse is. Already they can make different interpretations and spin prophecy the way that they see fit, because they took many precious and plain things up out of your compiled Bible. Okay, but the children of light, the 1/3 of us that he rose us up for a reason, to find these things, to be led by the Spirit of truth, to find all the things they took out of your so-called Holy Bible and put them back in there and break these things down with a childlike understanding, so that you can understand and grasp and have the chance and the choice. You have the ability to make a logical choice after we break these things down with simplicity. Okay? And that's what we've been called to do. And that's what I'm doing. Okay? And the words of the brother of Jared shall show unto the elect the way in which Satan rewardeth those who follow his plan and keep his covenants. And he rewardeth them with peace and carnal security, as it had been explained unto you previously in this record. And all of the prophets of the Most High have seen this time when Satan shall be released by the Father and given power over his own dominions without the restrictions that were placed upon him from the beginning. For Lucifer has complained unto the Father that the presentation of his plan and its incorporation into mortality cannot take a full effect, nor can it be given the proper chance, so that the children of the Most High can make a fair choice of which plan is the best and most righteous for all, if he is not allowed to give unto them some indication and example of the eternal laws that have been established for their happiness. Okay? So the Father wanted to give him a fair chance, because Lucifer thinks that his plan is better than the Father's plan. See, and they don't break all of this down either in your so-called Holy Bible. They don't break all of this down, how it wasn't just a rebellion out of nothing. It was literally Satan having disagreed with the Father and the heavenly council. There were some in there's a heavenly family, okay? There's a heavenly body, just like on earth, as it is above, so below. So as above, so below. All right. So there's a kingdom in heaven, okay? There's a kingdom with the Father. There's a council and all of that. All right. So there was like this council meeting or whatever, and Lucifer stood up and he rebelled. He was like, he said, he doesn't agree that those of a lower glory should not enjoy the powers of the celestial kingdom. You know, that they should, that all should have the right to these powers, you know, whether they deserve them or not. Okay. Basically, they should be able to have the powers of the celestial kingdom, whether they choose to use it for self or for others, okay? Because the Father is like, only the ones of the celestial kingdom can have the power of creation, okay? Those of the celestial kingdom can have the power of creation, to create worlds and do all of these things, if that is what causes them their greatest happiness. So I'm not trying to go way off on that, okay? I just want to break down a little bit of the discrepancy that Lucifer had with the Father, because he disagreed with that. He was like, well, no, I think that anybody should be able to do that. And so there was a third of the angels in heaven that agreed with Lucifer and said, well, yeah, that could cause the happiness for all upon earth if we all had the power of the celestial kingdom to create worlds and whatnot. So that there shouldn't be a restriction on that. Anybody should have the power to create worlds and do all of these things, okay? And it shouldn't have to be, you know, for the happiness of others. We should be able to use it for the happiness of ourselves. What if it makes us happy to be able to utilize these things for ourselves? All right. So the Father allowed him the opportunity to do this. And so that's how we have this false reality that's been created over this earth. And everything that everybody believes is a damn lie, because Satan was given the power to create this world. OK, he was given the power to create this world, because he just explained to the Father that it's not fair. He said, Lucifer has complained unto the Father that the presentation of his plan and its incorporation into mortality cannot take a full effect, nor can be given the proper chance, so that the children of the Most High can make a fair choice of which plan is the best and most righteous for all, if he is not allowed to give unto them some indication and example of the eternal laws that have been established for their happiness. Okay? This world, quote unquote, this world, this reality that we live in, okay, is what he created. He was given the power to create this, and he helped to create it with the telelight vision. Okay, with the powers of the air, he was able to create this illusion. Okay, he was able to create this false reality. Follow me, people. We were on verse 11. Therefore the Father has chosen a time when peace shall be taken from the earth for the last time, and Lucifer shall have power over his own dominions. And at this time the plan of Lucifer shall be shown in its full effect unto the children of the Most High, whether they are alive in mortality or alive according to the manner of the Spirit in the dimensions of the spirit world. Yeah, all the children of the Most High shall witness these last days and see the plan of Lucifer in its glory. And after it has failed miserably, okay, now let me pause right there. Because in my mind, in my opinion, in my book, in things that I see, his plan has failed miserably. This is coming from the oppressed point of view, okay? No, it does not make everybody upon the earth happy. So clearly, obviously, it has failed miserably. Because I grew up poor all my freaking life. I grew up under this false reality, this deception, and have been oppressed my whole life. My people have been oppressed their whole life, unless they sold out to this beast system. All right? They're 1 in a million or whatever. But you got some of my people that is sold out to this system. All right. So, but I can clearly see that his plan failed miserably. It does not make everybody happy. All right. We can look around in the world to see. We can look around in the world that we live in today and see all the starving people over in Africa and all over the earth. Not just in Africa, in America, everywhere. There's starving people everywhere. Homeless people everywhere. It does not make everybody upon the earth happy. His world that he created makes a few happy, while the rest of humanity and creation is groaning and moaning and suffering unto this day. So his plan has definitely, most definitely failed miserably. Okay? And after it has failed miserably, then shall every knee bow and every tongue confess that the plan of salvation which was given unto us by the Father is the only plan that is possible, whereby we might have eternal peace and happiness, even that eternal joy that the Father has promised unto all of us in the beginning. All right? Satan's plan only brings about happiness and joy to the wicked of the earth. Okay? By way of the beast, money. All right? And since all the prophets of the Most High have seen these latter days, and these prophets know the will of the Most High concerning them, because they have known these things, many of them have touched upon them in their writings, which are contained in the holy scriptures that are upon the earth in their latter days. Nevertheless, Yahusha has not permitted any of them to reveal unto the children of men the entire truth regarding these things. But some of them have revealed many things by way of symbolism and allegory, which was commanded of them by Yahusha, so that the children of men would be inspired to seek the meaning of these things from him, or in other words, from his Holy Spirit. Okay? Why is that? Because it tells us that it's the glory of the Most High to conceal the matter, and it is the honor of kings to search it out. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened. Are you knocking? Are you questioning? Are you asking questions? Or are you complacent in this deceptive ass reality that we've been born into? Let's continue. So we're supposed to be inspired to seek the meaning of the parables and the allegories and all of these things that's within the Bible. Okay? That means we got to go outside of the Bible as we're led by the Spirit of truth to these other records that were not included in the so-called Holy Bible. They didn't deem it worthy to compile this with the rest. They didn't want to compile the words of the apostles. Why is there only 4 apostles in the Bible, in the so-called New Testament? Wasn't there 12? Verse 15. And he who shall be the bearer of the Messiah, even he who shall bring forth the sealed portion of this record unto the world, shall have the power to discern all the symbolism and the allegories that have been given unto the children of men by the prophets of old. And those things that are not revealed in a portion of this record that is sealed shall be revealed through him. And by the power of the Spirit he shall discern all things which have been written. Nevertheless, I, Moroni, have been commanded to explain unto you the words of John that pertain to the great Roman Empire, and also that great nation that shall rise up because of the Romans, even the great European Empire, the Great White Empire, the Great White Empire, and also the last great nation that shall rise up above all other nations upon the earth in the latter days. So that lets you know right then and there what days we're living in. We are in the half of times. America is the final nation upon the face of the earth in these latter days, okay? So they putting you to sleep, man. They didn't put you to sleep a long time ago in this religion called Christianity. You're sitting here waiting for a rapture. You're sitting here waiting for... You have no idea how close you are to the end. You have no idea. You have no freaking clue because you're not understanding true prophecy. You've been listening to the words of men. You've been listening to the precepts of men, and they done led you way off, okay? It's only 2,000 years from the time that the Messiah was on this earth till the end, okay? And it's been around that time, all right? So you need to prepare yourself, okay? You really need to seek the Father and question your beliefs. And this is your time is running out, people. Your time is running out, okay? Very fast. You're like literally, if I need to find me like a freaking hourglass. This is almost empty, all right? Your time is literally at the end, okay? You got a few more grains left in there. So if you run across this video, I highly suggest that you seek the Father fervently, okay? I highly suggest that you question all the things that you have been taught to believe under this deceptive reality, all right? Now, and this is the last nation that shall be the seat of Satan, where he shall sit and rule and reign throughout the world, even in the final stages of his power and dominion. And they who shall bring these things forth unto the world shall be among those of this last nation. And the first of these last two prophets of the Most High in the latter days shall be at the beginning of this nation, and the last shall be near the end thereof, or at the time when the words of the Messiah shall be fulfilled, pertaining unto the time when the work of the Father shall commence in gathering the saints from among the wicked before the great and dreadful day of Yahusha. Okay? For unto the saints of the Most High the day of Yahusha shall not be dreadful, but shall be that day for which they have waited in patience. Here is the patience of the saints. Here is the patience of the saints of the Most High, who have been going through persecution for hundreds of years, and who came back to our power and decided to serve him with our whole heart, mind, and soul. Yet we're still living amongst the wicked. We're still living on this. I can't even put it in words, man. It's like we've been awakened and we're surrounded by filth, okay? We're surrounded by filth. Everywhere we turn, we're surrounded by filth. This is the time of the worst of the heathen, okay? And the remnant of us have been awakened to see the destruction of our enemies and to bring these things forward so that you can have an opportunity to repent and be spared, okay? For unto the saints of the Most High the day of Yahusha shall not be dreadful, but shall be that day for which they have waited in patience. But unto the wicked, which are those who worship the beast, money, who is Lucifer, the day of Yahusha shall indeed be great and terrible. But unto the wicked, which are all those who worship the beast, all those who worship money, who is Lucifer, the day of Yahusha shall indeed be great and terrible. And then shall the words of John be understood and fulfilled, which he wrote, saying, And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lighted with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High has remembered her iniquities. And then shall the saints of the Most High lift up our voices unto Yahusha, and the voice of all the holy prophets shall cry unto Yahusha, saying, Reward her, even as she rewarded us, and double unto her according to her works. In the cup which she has filled, fill even to her double as she has done unto us. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously of our labors and our sorrow. So much torment and sorrow give double unto her. For she said in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Let's look at the Queen of England. Let's look at her wicked ass. Let's look at her sitting on freaking billions of gold. She could never spend it in several lifetimes. Just sitting there on all that gold that she stole from the indigenous people, the Pope, and all of the wicked of the earth. They have stolen all the resources of the indigenous people and have enslaved all of humanity and all of creation. All right? Oh yeah, let's get it. All right? Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Most High power. For strong is the Most High power who judges her. Strong is the Most High power who judges her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. And they, standing afar off, for the fear of her torment, shall lament her, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour thy judgment come. For in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore, even the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of the most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and all the souls of men that have been held captive by her. Verse 26. And the fruit that thy soul has lusted after are departed from before thee, and all the things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. And the merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, and they shall weep and wail, saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen, and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. Yeah, even that great city from which we received our riches and our power and our glory. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. And every shipmaster, and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And what is the cause of its destruction? And they shall cast dust upon their heads, and cry, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein we were made rich, even all that has ships on the sea, by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour she is made desolate. Hold on, people, let me get some water. I'm also going to be making my smoothie soon. I didn't plan this. I didn't plan this audio. I was literally just cleaning up. And I was thinking about a lot of things, and that's how this got inspired. Okay? Alright, verse 29. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High hath avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And a voice of harpers and musicians, and of pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee. See, they even use all of the entertainment industry as all of Satan. Okay? All of your so-called celebrities, they're all in the monarch mind control. All your personalities, all your media personalities, they're under freaking monarch mind control. They're under heavy mind control, okay? All right. Verse 30. And no craftsman of whatever craft he be shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men and leaders of the nations of the earth. For by thy sorceries were all the nations deceived. Now, by that sorceries, what is it could be talking about? Isn't it exactly what I just said about the entertainment industry and your tele vision? All these things Satan was given the power to do in this half of times that he was not given the power to do in the times. So many people are dependent on their television, and they get all of their information from their television. These are the sorceries of Satan that has caused deception upon humanity. Okay? Whew. Alright, where am I? Yep. For thy merchants were great men and leaders of the nations of the earth. For by thy sorceries were all the nations deceived. And in her was found the blood of the holy prophets and of the saints and of all that were slain upon the earth, even all those who trusted in the Most High and kept the commandments that were given unto them. Now, the Roman Catholic Church, Christianity spread by way of bloodshed. They killed a lot of the saints of the Most High. They killed a lot of righteous people. A lot of martyrs in the Inquisition. as they were trying to force them to recant. They tried to force them to say things like, we can kill animals. Like, they forced the slaughter of animals. They forced meat eating, quote unquote. They forced flesh eating upon people. And they don't talk about this really. They don't really talk too much about this during the Inquisition. Most of your documentaries, they skip right over that. But it was brought out in the documentary, The Making of the Bible 1.0. So within the Making of the Bible 1.0, they brought out old documents of Jerome, one of the scribes, one of the people that translated the scriptures and that compiled. Okay, so he was one of the ones that was compiling the so-called Bible. Okay, and he has stipulations on him. He himself did not eat the flesh of animals, but it came a point in time to where they implemented flesh eating as part of the criteria of joining the church. You had to partake of eating animals. Okay, they didn't want nobody around them that did not partake of eating animals, because they didn't want to be convicted of it. Okay, so it was outlawed to have any kind of conviction towards eating animals. Okay, it became forbidden to have a heart towards eating animals. Now, I know that this is really hard for people to believe, but this is absolute truth. Okay, and we can see the outcome thousands of years later, how we have billions of establishments all over the earth selling the dead, mutilated body parts of innocent animals, and there's only a few people that's got a problem with it, and you call them crazy. Animal activist. You call them crazy, but these people have a heart for the animals, okay? They care about their suffering, and they do what they can to ease the suffering as much as possible, giving them water, while they're in their transport trucks, packed in there like sardines. All right? And many of these people, I ain't seen not one so-called Negro. Many of them are Gentiles. You don't think that they are being used by the Father? It's very arrogant of many of my people to believe that the Father cannot use Gentiles, that he can't use another nation. It tells you right there in your so-called Bible that there are heathens called by the Father's name. So there are Gentiles that are called by the Father's name and are being used by him. Okay? And I can clearly see this in my own life. All right?